What's up, guys? Today's January 13th. Today is the first day that I'm going to go to the meditation retreat. The meditation retreat is I'm probably butchering this word, but it's the Vipassana meditation. It's here in Chiang Mai. I decided to go to the international department, the one at Chom Tong. So we're going there today, and there is the basic course, which at this place it is recommended for 21 days, but I decided to do the intro course, which is anywhere from 5 to 14 days. So I decided to do 5 days, but this is new to me. I've never really meditated before, at least for long periods of time, and I'm nervous as hell because one, I don't know what to expect. Two, I'm worried about the sleep schedule and the food schedule because like yesterday I slept at 2 a.m. but within their schedule you're supposed to wake up at 4 a.m. and eat at 6 and then eat at 11 and then meditate throughout and then sleep at 10. So I'm nervous and I don't know what to expect and I'm not sure if I'm ready for it, but part of the reason why I wanted to do it was to kind of challenge myself and honestly just to detox from technology, from people, and just to sit alone with myself to understand myself better and to understand like what's going through my mind, just because in this day and age we are always go 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 and we never had time to stop and think about life. So I'm hoping through this meditation retreat I'll be able to do that. The only thing that's kind of going back and forth in my mind at the moment is I've seen a lot of other places, international ones like in Canada, they do 10-day courses. So I'm kind of like, man, should I go for the 10 days? I initially signed up for the 5. I don't even know if they have space, but yeah, so that's kind of the thing going back and forth in my mind, and then obviously just feeling like I won't be able to do it or I don't know how to meditate, and that just scaring me out. But I guess the whole part of this is to one, try new things and to just trust the process. So that's what we're going to do. At the end of the 5 days or whenever I come out of it, I will shoot another update as to what and how I feel and kind of things and the structures and everything about it. But just so you know, I ate a big meal right before this. I was just trying to find a restaurant and I was trying to get caffeinated because yesterday I slept at 2, I woke up at 8, and then I had to do some tax stuff. Unfortunately, I was pushing that back, so I had to do some tax stuff this morning, and then I was trying to find a restaurant fast to eat. So I ended up going to this buffet. I ate like eggs Benedict with some with scrambled eggs, bacon, and some other stuff. Got 2 coffees. So I was trying to eat everything as much as I can, because I assume when I get there I'll probably arrive around 1 p.m. and when I arrive I assume there won't be any food, so I try to eat as much as I can and I try to caffeinate as much as I can, so when I get there hopefully I'll be good. And yeah, I'm nervous. I'm especially nervous about having to poop and not having places for that, or how do I do that, because my stomach has been uneasy the last couple of days. But in any case, this is good. I'm happy that I'm actually pushing myself and trying it, and let's see how it goes. So stay tuned for the update, which is coming next. Peace. What's up, guys? I'm back in Vietnam. I just finished up a 7-day retreat in Chiang Mai at Wat Chom Tong doing the Vipassana meditation. So this is my review of how everything went. And once again, just keep in mind that my experience will completely differ from yours. So take everything I say with a grain of salt, as it was catered to me and how I felt and what I experienced. So let's get started with the meditation schedule, which was a little bit insane for me because coming into this meditation, I had a bad sleeping schedule. I was eating at random times. So the sleeping schedule or the schedule for the meditation was 4 a.m. you wake up, 6 a.m. you had breakfast, 11 a.m. you had lunch, and then 10 p.m. you go to sleep. So every day you would have a report with the teacher, which you would go back and forth with the teacher to talk about your experience, how everything's going, and then they tweak the meditation a little bit by adding a little few extra moves to the walking or the sitting meditation, as well as increasing your time if you need it. But once again, this is all catered per student and it's individual with you and the teacher. So I found it very useful. It helped me a lot with a lot of the questions I had and a lot of the difficulties that I had with the meditation. So I'm very grateful for that, and it was definitely useful. Now, the meditation style that you do in the Vipassana meditation is you initially start off with a mindful prostration. And the mindful prostration is more of like a concentration exercise prior to doing the meditation. So that usually takes about 3 or so minutes. Then after that, you do a walking meditation. Now the walking meditation, like I said earlier, depending on how far along you are and what your teacher thinks you should do, you pretty much stand up and you start walking. But as you're walking, you're also thinking about, you're being mindful of walking, right? And you're being mindful of your foot and your movement. And yeah, and that's pretty much it. Now with Vipassana, if any thoughts are coming in, then essentially what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to label these thoughts like feeling, tired, sad, frustrated. And then you're supposed to come back and then continue what you're doing. So that's similar to the next one as well. So right after the walking meditation, you then do a sitting meditation. So with the sitting meditation, you're looking or you're focusing on your stomach where the breath is rising and falling. So as you're breathing in and you're feeling it in your stomach, you're essentially saying rising, falling, rising, falling. And so that's the walking meditation. When I first came in, remember, I didn't really have any meditation experience, so this was all new to me, especially this type of meditation. And we started off by doing 10 minutes of walking and then 10 minutes of sitting, which I found was an ideal time. Now, at the end of it, I ended up with 15 and 20 minutes, and those were staggered. So I would do 15-minute walking, then 20-minute sitting. And then on the next session, I did 20-minute walking and then 15 minutes sitting. So that I found was kind of the sweet spot for me. I didn't feel like I was too rushed or like I didn't feel like it was too long of a meditation. So it felt like just the right amount for me, especially at my skill set. And pretty much after each session, so after you do the mindful prostration, the walking meditation, and the sitting meditation, then you're still mindful during your break time, and the break time should be around 20 minutes. So yeah, so overall, that's pretty much the meditation or like what you do during a session. And then at the meditation retreat, the food was kind of like a buffet style, right? The temple served the food and the food was vegetarian. You had the vegetarian option, but I was surprised because you also had a meat option. But for the first 3 days that I was at the meditation place, at the meditation retreat, I didn't eat anything because I wanted to detox my whole body from phone, from distractions, from food. So I didn't eat anything. I just did a water fast. I just had, a 1.5 liter water that I kept filling up and drinking throughout the whole day. The first 24 hours, I felt hungry and there was definitely cravings. The second 24 hours, the cravings subsided a little bit and I didn't want as much. So I felt like it was more under control. The next 24 hours, I felt great. I didn't really need or even thought about food that much, which was great. But then the 24 hours after that, so on the 4th day, I felt dizzy, lightheaded. Every time I stood up, like the blood rushed to my head and I was like feeling dizzy and it felt like I wanted to fall. So on the 4th day, what I did was I got a coconut. I got a coconut for lunch, and then at the end of the night, I was really tired because it was very hot that day. So I ended up getting some soup, and instead of like eating the stuff, like eating the noodles and stuff or any meat, I just had the soup and I drank that. And then on the fifth day, I started to go to the temple and then eat a little bit of the food. So I ate just mostly vegetables and meat. And then on the last day, I added more food. And yeah, so that was pretty much it for me. I don't recommend doing that actually, because what I found was the first 3 days, it was kind of irritable in the sense that during the meditation, there was like more cravings and more things that were in my mind and thoughts. So already alone, the meditation was difficult, but now I also added another component which added on top of that. So personally, I wouldn't recommend it. But anyways, that's what I did. And it's funny because my friend said this meditation retreat kind of sounded like a jail because the schedule you got up on, and then, you know, the food that was served, and then you're pretty much in this room. Like my room was, it's an individual cabin that I got luckily, but it was like an 8 foot by 12 foot room with a washroom in the back. So it was a tiny room. For the most part, I would say 70% of the time I was there in my room. And then the other 30%, there's like other meditation spots outside that you could go to. But it was pretty funny because that was always lingering at the back of my mind. Like, wow, this is pretty much like a jail, like a voluntary jail, which you sign up for, of course. And I've never been to jail, so I'm not comparing the two per se, but outside looking in, it's pretty funny because everybody's wearing the same uniform. You know, you sleep at the right time, you wake up at the right time, you have walk time as well. Then you go to the cafeteria, and then everybody's like fighting for food. Not really fighting for food, but it's kind of like portioned out because there's only a certain amount of food. So yeah, so it was definitely a funny experience because as I was walking around every day, I was just like, wow, this is pretty much like jail. Or this is kind of like the experience of it, I suppose. But anyways, so overall, that was kind of the schedule and the meditation retreat. Now, at the end of the day, how did I like it? What did I find? Did I find myself? What did I learn? I guess. So I went into the meditation retreat thinking I was going to find something. I was going to go find myself. I was going to find an answer. Now, I didn't get the answer I was looking for, but I definitely got an answer. And I think that in itself was I guess that was, I don't know, I guess that was what I was looking for, but not really what I was expecting. But essentially throughout the whole meditation and the whole time, I kind of realized this on the third or fourth day, was when I was doing the meditation and when I was labeling my thoughts, it was kind of like I was just saying it to get it done and over with because I wanted to move on to the next thing. I wanted to move on to like the next meditation step, or I wanted to move on to my break time, right? So I kept rushing to get to the next spot. And then by doing so, I kept getting frustrated with the meditation. And I was like, man, this is not working for me. Like there's something, like I just keep going, but it's just not working. And so that in itself was the lesson for me, was that I keep looking for the next thing when there is no next thing that I should be looking for. It should be being in the now, being in the present. So the power of now. And that, when I took that in and I reflected, the next few days afterwards was, okay, I didn't look at the time anymore. I didn't feel rushed. I didn't feel frustrated because I accepted the moment that I was in. I accepted the meditation itself, and I allowed it to, like, I allowed myself to just be there and do it and trust the journey and appreciate the journey rather than trying to find something at the end. And then when I looked at that in my whole life, it's like, oh, stop trying to find the end, or always stop trying to go to the end. Enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, enjoy the now. And so for me, that is what I learned. And I think that is very powerful. And I think, I think that's what it taught me, and taught me being mindful of the now and just enjoying it. So with that being said, like a few other things that I've learned was I kept trying to control things, right? So I kept trying to control like how fast I would label a thought. I didn't allow the thought to happen. So I kind of labeled it very fast. And the faster I did it, because I thought I was just rushing. and I was just trying to control it. I got more frustrated and frustrated. And then, yeah, I found that labeling my thoughts are useful to ground myself, to categorize my thoughts. And overall, that was my experience. I had a difficult time in the beginning. Then at the end, I ended up loving it. At the beginning, I wanted to leave. And at the end, I wanted to stay. And I didn't want to leave anymore. So that was my experience. Thank you for tuning in.